In this chapter, we're going to explore Adobe Bridge. Bridge is a great program to help preview, organize, and automate tasks such as batch renaming your files. You'll see in some ways it's similar to Windows Explorer. Let's go ahead and get started.
Let's take a look at the Adobe Bridge workspace. I just have Adobe Bridge open, and this is the default workspace of Essentials. You'll notice across the top we do have a little ribbon here that we can click on the various workspaces. And you can resize this ribbon to show as many workspaces as you want or as few as you want. And you'll notice here to the right of that I have an arrow that shows me the rest of the workspaces that I might not be able to see, and it also allows me to reset my workspace. Let's start with Essentials, and mainly you've got some panels here that help you organize and preview your images. So here on the left you'll see there's a little favorites bar, and just by clicking and dragging a folder I can make a favorites. So by clicking on that favorites I can then display the contents of that folder. I can also go to folders view and I can go through my various locations and select where I'm taking a look, just like working with Windows Explorer on a Windows machine or going through your Finder on your Mac. So I'm going to stay here with favorites. I have added my project files for this series, and we're going to be working in chapter 8 at this point. So I'm going to open up chapter 8 and I can see some flowers, and you'll notice that they're all named with the original name that came from the camera. We also have a preview window here on the right, so if I click on one of the flowers I can see a preview of that flower. Obviously I can also resize my panels just like in any other program. So I'm going to go ahead and resize that since I don't have enough images to fill my content panel. So I can make that a little bit smaller, and I can enlarge my preview area so I can get a better look at my image. You'll notice right below that we have the metadata. Metadata is going to keep track of your file properties. It'll tell you when it was created, if it was modified, and when. It's going to give you your dimensions, not only in pixels but in inches as well. And then the resolution that the image is in, and your color mode and all that stuff. And then too, we also have our camera data. So it'll actually give me information from the settings on my camera when I took the picture, including, if I go all the way to the bottom here, you'll see it'll tell you the type of camera that took the picture. So in this case it was a Canon PowerShot G10. Next to the metadata tab we have the keywords tab. This is really neat. We can actually come in and we can code our own metadata with keywords to help us later find these images. So for instance, down here in places, I can add an additional place. I'm going to have one of the cities listed here, and of course you don't have to name it by city. You can choose any naming convention that you want. And I'm going to click my little plus sign to add a new keyword, and I actually took these flower pictures in San Jose. So I'm going to type in San Jose, and now when I have my flower selected I can check San Jose, and now I've got a keyword assigned to that image. And I can do that to all my pictures here, because all these flowers were taken in San Jose. Let me go ahead and make a mass selection here of all my images at one time, and you'll see they all appear in my preview window, and I can then select San Jose and apply it to all my images at one time. So now later I could actually go in and do a search on images from San Jose and pull up all the pictures I took when I was there that summer. I could also add additional keywords. Up here we have events, we have people, and we have places are the default categories. So we could come up here to events and we could add another category, or we could just add another keyword. We don't have to create categories for everything and then have subcategories or subwords underneath those. So I'm just going to name this flowers, and then I could select all my flowers in my window here. I'm holding down my command key, and then I could select flowers. So later if I'm looking for a flower for a project that I'm working on, then I could look for all my flowers by looking for that keyword that I've added to my keywords panel. Okay, so now we've taken a look at our flowers. We do see them in the preview window, and over here under filters we could filter by different keywords, and since these are the only two I've used so far are San Jose and flowers, those are the only ones I see in my list. We can also create stacks. Let's say I wanted to subcategorize my flowers by color. Let's take our yellow ones. I'm holding down my command key. And we can come up to stacks and we can group them as a stack. And then we could take our ones that are more purple and we could create that as a stack. And then the ones that are pink. And we could group those. And we could even come down into our flowers keywords and we could add a subcategory and we could add colors for the colors of the flowers, or even if we know the types of flowers, then we could even create categories on those to simplify our search later. So stacking is actually kind of nice because it cleans up our window, it puts them all together, and then all I would need to do is I could select that stack and it'll show me the preview of all the items in my stack. I could go back up to stacks, I could open my stack so I could see them all individually, but you'll notice the 3 is still there, which means there's still a stack. I could close my stack, and then there's other options here as well. Expanding all my stacks would show them all separately. You can see how they are bound together with that box, and they do have a number on them to show that they are stacks. So you can group things as well in your content panel by using stacks. You can also, when you have your individual images selected or multiple images selected, under the File menu, you have the option to move your selected file. You can also copy it, and you can export it. So we can move them to different locations on an external drive, on our hard drive. We can even post them to the internet. We also have a place command in here that we can actually take our image from Bridge and directly place it into one of our Adobe applications. Another thing I want to show you is the preferences. Now remember, on a Mac you find preferences under the title of your application, and on a Windows machine you would find it under Edit. So I'm going to open up my preferences, and in my preferences dialog box you'll see that we can change the appearance of our workspace, the color, and we can also change some of its behavior. But what I'd like to show you are found under the file type associations. When I click on that category, you'll notice on the right hand side all the different file extensions that are supported in Bridge, and you can actually assign what application will open that file extension from Bridge. So Bridge is really nice. It's like working with your Finder or your Explorer window in Windows, but it's so much more because you can add your keywords, you can make collections and stacks, and you can also assign your file type associations much more simply than you can in the operating system for either the Mac or Windows environment. In addition, you can also set Bridge to automatically boot when you turn on your computer. So under Advanced, you'll see you can start Bridge at login, which will keep it running in the background so it's always available when you want it. And as we'll see later, you'll also be able to work with Mini Bridge inside Photoshop, which is just what it sounds like. It's a smaller version of Bridge that is self-contained in the Photoshop workspace to help you preview your images and organize your images. Okay, let's click OK.